guys have noticed that I've been dueling with a puppet named Stan? Well, guess what? That's my secret lover. Hey, what can I say? That puppet is cute. He's not just a puppet. He's my everything.
Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no swear.
Behold Icierra Green, the TikTok equivalent of a weed. You can try to delete her, but she'll just keep growing back. If you spend enough time on TikTok, chances are you'll come across a name, Icierra. That is our protagonist for today. She had once gained close to 300,000 followers, but when TikTok decided she was too much to handle, her account was pulled down. She bounced back again with another account, gaining over 30,000 followers. And like before, TikTok plucked her out like the weed she was proving to be. Icierra is a controversial phantom. Only parody accounts of her exist today, because of her many unsettling online behaviors. She's a 27-year-old adult who manipulates minors on Discord. Her Discord page is primarily for minors. And by minors, we're talking about 15 years old and above. There's more. Icierra is an asexual person.
You begged him.
I'm asexual. I don't feel sexual attraction. That does not mean I don't like affection. I still have feelings and like to show love. I'm not broken. I'm asexual.
But she doesn't support the LGBTQ community.
Seeing people with all those flags hanging on the wall, gay, trans, whatever. He didn't make you gay, you chose to be that way. You cannot be born gay. That is just ridiculous. The frick?
And it's kind of ironic to hate on your community.
The LGBTQ thing, I was wrong. I got mixed up. Because I always thought that asexual was not with LGBTQ because I didn't know that.
Beyond that, Icierra is a pest with a disgusting habit of harassing men. One was an autistic guy named Greg.
Hey guys, I'm going to give you an update on what's going on right now. I guess I was wrong about...
And the others were strangers who she calls her online brothers.
Date him, date him, date him, date him, date him.
If any of you guys are wondering if I still miss my older brother Ryan, no, I never missed him.
Icing on top, she performs online rituals to summon these supposed brothers after they block her. And just when you think you had enough of her, she comes up with something new.
With the crown.
Yes.
No, I'm not lucky, I'm blessed.
Yes.
Clap for the heavyweight champ.
Me.
But I couldn't do it all alone.
Like her romance sagas with puppets. And, most famously, her furry persona with cardboard ears and cheap props. Icierra didn't just post cringe, she industrialized it.
Yes. Yes, we will. What? Yes, we will.
And whenever internet users called her out for her disturbing actions, she'd play the pity card and claim she's disabled, because this woman knows how to make you watch her more.
I mean, you have to understand that I'm a disabled person, and I don't go by that. You shouldn't hate on a disabled woman, okay?
However, apart from what you saw till now, there's a darker side to her that no one saw. Her story isn't just about cringe content. It's also about harassment, hypocrisy, meltdowns, and reputation-destroying accusations, from screaming at children for stealing her ears.
When I say my ears aren't for sale, I didn't mean just go and make your own ears. Guys, you're stealing my design. Stop it.
To committing art theft herself.
Assuming you all know who Icierra is, right? So she basically took this drawing I made, cropped my signature out of it, and told all her fan pages to change their profile picture to this.
Icierra Green is a train wreck that the people of the internet keep rejecting.
No matter what video she posts, she's gonna get mass reported. She will probably end up being banned again, no matter what.
Is it I like talking to minors because you're a foul? Stop talking, you bad girl!
And today we're going to dive headfirst into this rabbit hole of depravity, delusion, and cardboard cosplay. Get ready, because this is the story of TikTok's depraved furry, Icierra. Let's cut straight to it. Before we get into the memes, the cardboard ears, the costumes, and the puppet boyfriends, let's start with the most disgusting aspect of the story, the accusations that Icierra crossed a line with underage viewers. Because this wasn't just harmless cosplay. This wasn't just cringe roleplay. According to multiple accounts, Icierra allegedly coerced minors into joining her Discord. I am a Robbie Rotten fan from Lazy Town. I have autism and fetal alcohol syndrome. I am 28 years old. Below her biography is a link to her YouTube page, where she has close to 60 followers in total. In one of her messages on Discord, she admitted to dating a 16-year-old. It's about this guy I dated, turns out he's 16, but I'm not like that, so I wanted to dump him without hurting him, and I told him we should wait till he's old enough. After basically telling the room that she had a minor, she proceeded to say, "Just give me time, okay? I know what I'm doing is wrong. I'm just gonna be his friend." Icierra kept trying to defend herself, and when one of the group members told her to stop talking to the minor she was dating, she responded with yet another tone-deaf defense. "Listen, he wanted to be with me, because I understand what he goes through. He struggles with a lot of things, and he hardly has friends." To make matters worse, she ended the discussion stating that her friend had advised her to date the poor guy when he was 17, which again isn't exactly a legal age. What Icierra was refusing to see was that she was too involved with minors as a grown adult. Her entire Discord, for instance, was inviting only minors above the age of 15. Her reputation was already in tatters because of the existence of this page. It became all the more terrible when one of her victims stepped up to expose her wild habits. The post was shared by a user on X, and it contained a narration from someone named Luca. It read, "Hey, my name is Luca, and I'm a victim of Icierra. She's been d***ing me since I was 13 years old. And counting, Icierra isn't just a lockout, she's so much more than that. She is an animal user, a PDF file, and an entitled spoiled brat who crashes out at anything that isn't revolved around her." Luca explained that Icierra had manipulated her for around 4 years, and claimed that they had been instrumental in growing Icierra's brand across multiple social media platforms. "I created Icierra's entire brand after Natalie rightfully so left her. I own her email, TikTok, Discord, and any platform you see her on." This was starting to sound like a scene right out of a horror movie, but it didn't end there. Luca dropped yet another jaw-breaking detail in this confession. According to the statement, and in their words, Icierra shamed multiple minors, including my little sister, and manipulated her previous boyfriend, who was 16, when she was in her mid-20s. She has irped with me multiple times. She has sent me NSFW without warning nor permission. Regardless, she shouldn't be talking to any minor in this way. For easy understanding, NSFW, meaning not safe for work, is specifically content that you wouldn't want to view in public without a trigger warning. It could be graphic, violent, or offensive. In Icierra's case, according to the outline confession, she was sending unwarranted nudes to a minor, no less. While Icierra herself never publicly confirmed these events, the allegations were serious enough that her former TikTok manager actually locked down her account to prevent further contact with minors. The update from the manager read, "Hi all, just wanted to come on here and let you know that Icierra has been locked out of the account and will no longer have access to the TikTok due to recent allegations." In the pinned post, the former manager explained that Icierra's disgusting habits had been brought to their attention, and there was proof of it. The note read, "A few people have reached out to me and have given me reliable proof that Icierra has been interacting with minors, despite having an 18+ account." The former manager further expressed that investigations would be handled privately. While we are still investigating these messages, it's 100% confirmed that she has interacted with minors in an inappropriate manner. All investigations regarding this situation will be handled privately, and urge readers to exercise caution. Please continue to exercise internet safety and always report anything that looks suspicious. Thank you for reading. Former account manager. Then the message ended with a warning urging followers not to trust new accounts Icierra might create, as she had a habit of resurfacing under slightly altered usernames. Do not interact with Icierra on any new TikTok account she makes, her Discord, or any form of social media she has. This wasn't an average community guideline violation. This was the real adult's way of saying, Icierra is a danger to children. Keep away. And the fallout was immediate. Some internet folks saw her as the furry TikTok equivalent of a Chris Hansen special, except instead of showing up to a sting house with a pack of wine coolers, Icierra was luring kids into online spaces before setting up meetings in real life. And this is what makes Icierra such a confusing figure, because as we'll cover later, she wasn't some anonymous predator who carefully hid their tracks. She was an open book online, oversharing about her disabilities, her family. One time she even mentioned her adopted mom had decided to die from ammonia.
Mom died of an ammonia. Not my real mom, but the one that took care of me. She died of an ammonia. She chose to die from. She chose to be dead.
She used a very funny choice of words, but that wasn't even what caught the audience's attention. You see, ammonia is a colorless gas with a disgusting smell. Hearing that someone might have died from it sounded weird to the viewers. So they tried to explain to Icierra that she might have been referring to pneumonia and not ammonia, but the TikToker stood her ground.
Ammonia is an illness. My mom died from a bad illness of ammonia. You cannot drink ammonia. It happens in the lungs. And she died from it. Get that through your head. Ammonia is not a drink. It's an illness.
This video was made back in 2020. In November 2024, Icierra dropped news that her biological mother had passed away. This was the genuine thing about her. Icierra overshared on social media. She's been open about being autistic and suffering from fetal alcohol syndrome.
Children afflicted with FAS generally lack social skills, too. They tend to get easily frustrated, thereby throwing temper tantrums very often. They exhibit symptoms of being overactive and are not able to sit in a place. They are impulsive by nature, and their actions are not very coordinated.
She expressed that both syndromes had clearly affected how she interacts with people. While we can't say whether her symptoms are true or not, we do know that excuses won't cut her behavior, especially when she's an adult and real kids are concerned. Disabilities explain behavior, but they don't absolve accountability. And in Icierra's case, the harm wasn't theoretical, it was real, and the internet noticed. Almost overnight, Icierra's already shaky reputation fell through the floor. Trolls came for her on live streams, reminding her of the PDF file accusations.
Is it I like talking to minors because you're a foul? Stop talking, you bad girl!
No, I don't like... Oh my god. Okay, you're getting blocked. You're blocked. You're gone. You're gone.
Then everything came to an end with the pinned post from the former manager, which occurred on December 6, 2024. This was the very last time the people on TikTok would ever hear official news related to Icierra on her page. Mind you, this wasn't Icierra's first rodeo. Before the whole controversy, her first ever TikTok page had nearly amassed a 300,000 following. However, due to her back-to-back issues, she got banned and was forced to open this new account, which had only gotten to 1/10 of her initial followers, before it was eventually shut down by her account manager and TikTok due to the speculations. That was effectively the death sentence for her career, because once you get labeled a danger to kids, you don't come back from that. No quirky rebrand, no cardboard redesign of your persona ears. You're done. But let's be clear, Icierra's history with boundary-crossing behavior didn't start here. If anything, the allegations were the climax of a long pattern of obsessive, unhealthy parasocial relationships. Icierra had a well-documented history of latching onto people, grown men, fellow creators, even literal puppets, and treating them like unwilling boyfriends. She spammed them with "Hey babe" videos. She duetted their videos in awful ways.
7 positions for 70 minutes, you'll get it, babe. You got a lot on your mind, and I want to ease it up.
Seriously, she was just not taking no for an answer with them. And this is where we will start off officially, because if we're going to understand how Icierra became TikTok's depraved furry, we need to unravel the controversial monster layer by layer. So let's rewind, shall we? How did this all begin? And how did Icierra go from posting harmless cringe content to becoming one of TikTok's most infamous names? Well, to answer that, we need to look at her rise on TikTok. Before Icierra became one of TikTok's most infamous figures, she was just another face in the endless scroll of TikTok creators. Her general introduction included information about her autism and fetal alcohol syndrome, and she also provided basic details like her height and state of residence.
Your height, city and state, how many fans?
But here's the thing about Icierra that wouldn't have made it into her own introduction. Icierra didn't have the polish or charisma of other creators in her time. We're talking during the COVID-19 year when the likes of Bella Porch and KB Lame were quickly racking up followers on TikTok. Unlike them, Icierra's content were a bit sloppy. She made beauty videos. While most TikTok makeup tutorials are quick, slick, and edited to perfection, Icierra's, on the other hand, was not really fitting the beauty aspect. Her content wasn't enjoyable because it was good. It was enjoyable because it always had you wondering what is going on. Most importantly, Icierra was at her core a superfan of what? Pretty much everything. A children's television series called Lazy Town, Irish YouTuber Jacksepticeye. If something was colorful, goofy, or nostalgic, Icierra was into it.
Alright, what you got, babe?
She had the kind of enthusiasm you usually only see in little kids, the kind of enthusiasm that feels too much when expressed by an adult. Here she is with her plushy bunny named Jeffrey. That's the thing. She posted videos that naturally wouldn't make you believe she was in her 20s.
Should Jeffrey sleep with me tonight? Or should he stay in his crib? What do you think?
Icierra didn't filter herself the way most adults do online, and partly because her behavior was borderline immature and weird.
Guys, I am so scared of thunder right now. It's thundering outside, as you can I don't know if you can tell, but it's thundering outside. I have no one to keep me company. My boyfriend is not with me, so I can't hold him, but I can hold the elephant and make it feel like it's him.
This brings us to her obsession with Lazy Town. Lazy Town is a popular children's television show that originated in Iceland. It combines live action with puppetry to promote healthy living and exercise. Icierra talked about it constantly and was particularly in love with the main antagonist, Robbie Rotten. Robbie Rotten is a character who primarily wants everyone in Lazy Town to remain lazy. For Icierra to find inspiration in such a character, well, you shouldn't be too surprised. Apart from her Lazy Town content, Icierra often posted dance videos, horrible song covers, and even awkward monologues. They could make you laugh, not because they were funny, but because they were so strange. At some point, Icierra's antics somehow led her audience to start referring to her as the baby. And let's just say, she didn't find it entertaining.
The baby, because I do not look nothing like whoever that person is.
I'm done. I'm so done. I'm done.
Moving forward, the turning point for Icierra's TikTok career was her dive into the furry community.
Misfortune.
What?
Language.
Now, the furry fandom is no stranger to controversy, but it's also a place that can be incredibly supportive of creative self-expression. For Icierra, it was the perfect stage. She started crafting pink and green animal ears and dinosaur masks, and these weren't high-quality stuff. They were DIY cosplay on a kindergarten budget, but they became her thing. Her signature pink and green cardboard ears were especially iconic. She wore them constantly, using them as a symbol of her furry persona.
People say you sound like Yoshi.
And when people started copying them, sometimes to troll her, sometimes just for fun, she lost it.
Like, what is wrong with you? You cannot steal no one else's ears that they made. You're stealing my idea. And you can't do that. You can't just go around and do that. That's just not right.
That meltdown went viral, and suddenly Icierra wasn't just a weird TikToker, she was the weird TikToker. Her ears became a meme. People mocked her. One creator in particular even duetted her, basically insinuating that Icierra couldn't claim her cat ears because they weren't original.
You just can't.
Nobody on this app except for me should be wearing a wolf hat. It is my thing. It is stealing my idea by putting on a wolf hat. This is my thing. You can't steal from other people, even though this is an already common to find wolf hat that any person could buy, if not already own.
And instead of ignoring it, Icierra fed the fire, ranting more and more about how her cardboard piece was authentic.
Made of paper? Does this sound like paper to you? Does that sound like paper to you? No. Cardboard. Get it right.
Sadly, the harder she tried to defend her cardboard ears, the more people made fun of them. And it didn't help that Icierra was always getting into hot water because of her, quote-unquote, crafts. There was one case that threw her viewers off concerning her behavior towards what she claimed was her intellectual property. Since Icierra had often claimed her creations as original, even when they bore a suspicious resemblance to existing designs. The cardboard ears, for instance, were not new in design and context. Basically, anything she uploaded to her page represented her own craft, and then came one particular post of a drawing. It was a picture of a cute little furry, and Icierra uploaded it without a caption. Unfortunately, someone on the internet wasn't too happy. This person was another creator on TikTok. This user claimed that Icierra had not only posted their own drawing, but had not given her credit for it.
So she basically took this drawing I made, cropped my signature out of it, and told all her fan pages to change their profile picture to this. So now there's an army of like 50 accounts with my drawing as their profile picture without me being credited.
Can you imagine that? Icierra, who had yelled at kids for copying her cardboard ears like she was the CEO of intellectual property, had committed intellectual theft herself. The hypocrisy was alarming, but Icierra was too pompous to see it. Instead of owning up to her mistakes, Icierra claimed she had uploaded the picture without a caption, and thus didn't claim ownership over it. This was practically Icierra's mode of operation. She never took accountability for her actions. When a viewer called her out for posting the video in the first place, check out Icierra's response.
You want to hurt me? Go right ahead if it makes you feel any better. I'm an easy target. Yeah, you're right. I talk too much. I also listen too much. I could be a cold-hearted cynic like you, but I don't like to hurt people's feelings.
Like this one, Icierra would always argue that critics were bullying her because of her disabilities. Icierra always thought of playing the pity card to get attention away from herself. But the people on the internet are not stupid. If you're wise enough to ramble on about intellectual theft, then you should be old enough to accept and fix your mistakes. By this point, Icierra had carved out a niche. She was the girl that people watched because they couldn't look away, and Icierra noticed. She thought of utilizing this attention, and began to flood her page with the same cycle of content. Then it got to a point where she made one terrible mistake. Icierra reintroduced herself as homophobic. She often engaged the viewers in her comments, telling them that homosexuality was a choice and not an inherent orientation that people were born with.
He didn't make you gay, you chose to be that way. You cannot be born gay. That is just ridiculous. The frick?
Icierra's reasoning stemmed mostly from her religious upbringing, which was arguably understandable if you looked at it that way. Her explanations always leaned on her belief that people should be straight just like God wanted them to.
I do support them, but I just don't like the community itself. I just wish people would follow God's rule and be the same people. I mean, come on.
In the same video, Icierra not only put herself out as homophobic, but also transphobic.
Seeing people with all those flags hanging on the wall, gay, trans, whatever, it's just not right, dude. Like the trans people, they choose to be a different person. That's messed up. What is going on with this world right now? I have nothing else to say. I really don't.
Icierra maintained that the people in the community chose to deviate from being straight. For her, it was that simple. However, for the people of the community, as well as their supporters, it was a huge insult. Her stance on the topic of LGBTQ+ really put her in hot water for two reasons. First, she was a creator with a lot of followers. Calling her an influencer would be too much of a stretch, but she was someone with quite a remarkable engagement. This meant that she had different kinds of viewers flowing to her page. As such, she could have chosen to be silent on some sensitive topics, but Icierra didn't. She always lashed out at her followers, telling them to never raise the topic around her ever again.
If you new people ever say something about LGBTQ or if I support it, please stop. Don't ever say anything about it, or else you're gonna get me really annoyed, because I'm sick of it. I'm tired of people hating on me. I am.
Icierra clearly wasn't aligning with this topic, and people hated her guts. Why? This brings us to the second and most ironic reason why viewers were against her. Icierra had claimed she was asexual, and this meant she was part of the umbrella she despised. As one commenter wrote, "How does she not support it but is also a part of it?" Well, with Icierra, I doubt we can find logic in this crowd. Viewers were enraged and disgusted. When they pointed this hypocrisy out to her, what did she do? Apologize? Take back her statement? Definitely not. Icierra responded with a video explaining her ignorance of the letter A in the grand LGBTQ umbrella.
I guess I was wrong about the LGBTQ thing. I was wrong. I got mixed up. Because I always thought that asexual was not with LGBTQ because I didn't know that. So, you know.
She played it like she always did, shamelessly defending herself while avoiding full accountability. But it didn't last long, though, as Icierra returned with another shocking video where she claimed she was fully in support of the community. Her stance might have changed, but her viewers' perception of her didn't. They trolled her nonstop. And Icierra? Well, she wasn't exactly having a party. In 2024, she addressed the hatred she had been receiving through a written post. Guys, stop posting videos of me saying I am homophobic and racist. I don't deserve it. It's annoying. Learn to be better to others. If you can't say something nice, don't say freaking nothing at all. I'm sick of it. I think the bone of contention here is still the fact that she had not addressed or acknowledged her other wrongdoings, and there was a long list of them. Anyway, Icierra battled with a lot of hate comments, and this unleashed a series of posts to her haters.
I don't hate you for what you put me through. I hate you for acting like you didn't put me through anything. And all I can say is, you.
By creating this kind of content, she treated haters the same as fans, fuel to keep posting. And in doing so, she walked right into the trap so many lolcow figures fall into, becoming a performer for an audience that's laughing at you, not with you. As her notoriety grew, so did her problems. Her case with minors, cringe online content, furry, and lazy town obsession, and aggressive behavior towards her audience soon preceded her name. Over time, Icierra became a full-blown lolcow. Her name traveled from TikTok to X, and ultimately to Kiwi Farms, a forum dedicated to exposing and ridiculing lolcows like herself. Icierra even had her own thread on the platform. It was surreal how her life had transformed from an average cringe TikToker to a renowned child lover. The forum unraveled all of Icierra's dirty secrets, from the ones we've touched on, art theft and erratic interactions with fans, to the ones we're about to discuss, her stalking and full-on obsessive side. Beyond the fursuits and costumes, Icierra had an unreasonable attachment to puppets. While normal human beings were busy going through several stages of love with their human partners in life, Icierra was busy doing the same with puppets. Icierra would have a full-on obsessive meltdown over a puppet. Yes, a puppet. It got to the point that she gladly picked her favorite puppet over a real human being. If you think that's sick, you're in for a world of shock. Let's rewind. Around the height of her furry ear saga, Icierra discovered a niche corner of TikTok populated by puppeteers. People who ran puppet accounts, often in character, posting skits, singing, or just goofing around. Most of these puppet creators were hobbyists. They weren't trying to be the next Jim Henson. They were just having fun. But for Icierra, it was like discovering a new species of man. So she latched on. Her first target? A puppet named Stan, which belonged to Gregory DeBruno, a guy with autism who would later become Icierra's obsession. Icierra told her audience about their first meeting.
We sort of met back in 2019, maybe, I don't know. And as I was doing my own thing, I got a notification from him that he tagged me in a video that he wanted me to do it. I didn't see him at first, I saw his puppet Stan. And I thought, hey, he's pretty cute, so I decided to do it to him instead.
So it was love at first sight for her. Not sure about Stan the puppet. But yeah, Icierra was pretty vocal about her love for this puppet.
Stan, if you're watching this, I hope you understand how much I need you and how much I love you. You are the world to me. Without you, I don't know what I would do. I hope we could do more duets together, you and me. You and me make a great couple.
No matter how you look at it, this was sick in so many ways. Sadly, this was only the beginning, and the point where everything started going downhill. Greg was known as Mitterman the Puppet Man, because he was, as you would have guessed, a puppeteer. He had quite an audience who loved his puppet shows and duets, close to 50,000 in total. Like I mentioned earlier, when Icierra first encountered this duo, it wasn't Greg who caught her eye, it was Stan, the puppet. Yes, Icierra's great romance started as a crush on a puppet. This isn't a joke, it's not an exaggeration. Between Greg and Stan, she initially desired the puppet.
Of course I love him. He's the cutest puppet in the world. Somebody who loves me. Yes, I love him too. I'm his favorite, and he's my favorite.
Somewhere along the way, though, she was forced to confront reality, sort of. This development gradually came up when she saw Greg's face for the first time.
Then he started tagging me in a couple of more videos, and we started doing it there. That's when I saw his face for the first time, and he's so adorable. He's sweet, kind, and very happy all the time.
Eventually, Icierra decided she needed to pick between the human and the foam rubber companion, and she chose Greg. But let's be clear here, the fact that this choice even had to be made says everything you need to know about the absurdity of Icierra's relationship history. Most people debate whether they're more into someone's personality or looks. Icierra debated whether she was more into a guy or his puppet. Now Greg himself was no pillar of stability. The man lived in Philadelphia, and his twin sister Andrea has gone on record saying that Greg has the mental age of 5.
We're twins, we're 22, but his brain, just to get people to understand if you're stupid, his brain is still at a 5-year-old level. So he still watches Sesame Street, he still watches Barney, he still watches kiddie shows.
So what we had here was a situation where Icierra, a woman already prone to obsessive attachment, had latched onto a long-distance partner who was both socially fragile and easy to manipulate. And this situation was far from funny. Greg was Icierra's soulmate, at least in her mind.
This is mine. I'm taking this with me.
Can I have it? No, fuck off! It's mine!
She stitched and duetted his content non-stop.
In 7 positions for 70 minutes, you'll get it, babe. You got a lot on your mind, and I want to ease it up and lick it and slip it in. You do a light scream on the ice cream when I scoop it and dip it in, unzipping her tight jeans. The feminine hygiene is magnificent.
She posted clips of her family with Greg and Stan. The weirdest part? Greg didn't play along at all. Well, he did at first, before all the craziness began. Greg had maintained a friendly relationship with Icierra on TikTok. He often commented on her posts, and Icierra would reply with videos.
Babe, you're already my friend and my boyfriend. You don't have to comment to say, of course. I mean, you're weird, but I love you. Why, babe? It's gotta be my eyes, right? Or maybe it's the face itself. What do you think? Why am I so cute? Is it the eyebrows, the nose, the teeth?
They did duets together.
I'm Nemo.
Well, Nemo, all new explorers must answer a science question.
Okay.
You live in what kind of home? Okay.
And he tagged her in his posts. From these few materials, we could see that they shared an understanding of some sort. However, there was only so much he could take in this union, so Greg backed away, leaving Icierra alone in a relationship that was all in her head. Icierra wasn't letting up.
This guy, he hid his feelings from me because he didn't want me to find out that he was in love with me. I wish he would have told me first instead of just hiding his feelings from me. Babe, what is wrong with you? Anyway, happy 1 year.
Boy, was Greg exhausted. When a commenter asked if he had broken up with Icierra, he wrote, "She won't let me. This wasn't about the 1SDead collabs anymore." Even after Greg had made it clear that he wanted nothing more to do with her, Icierra kept projecting her fantasies onto him. And when Greg didn't reciprocate, Icierra doubled down. She stitched his videos to beg for attention.
Want me to leave, but it's time to move on.
Okay, babe, I have a question for you. Since you've been doing all these TikTok videos, can you please give me attention, please?
And of course, internet users who were disgusted by the situation never missed a day of content. For them, this was gold. You already had Icierra ranting about like cardboard ears and stealing credit for craft projects, but now she was crying over a puppet? It was too surreal to ignore. The more she spiraled, the more attention she got. And just like before, she fueled it. She wasn't embarrassed. She didn't back down. She leaned harder into the bit. It got to a point that Greg's twin sister, Andrea, had to intervene. Like Greg and Icierra, Andrea was a creator on TikTok, with quite a large following of her own, over 140,000 and counting. Andrea released 2 videos ranting about how upset her brother had been. In the first one, Andrea was visibly upset. Her voice shook in anger and frustration as she explained the pitiful state she saw her brother in that day.
It started on TikTok and now it's going on Facebook. I just came home from running a few errands and my brother comes down the steps. I'm shaking right now.
From what she gathered, someone had been bothering him in the comments of his posts on Facebook.
So he comes down and shows me a picture and he told me he's getting 309 comments to be exact, all hating on the picture. I don't know who the these people are, but if you're gonna hate on someone, hate on me. Hate on me. Call me every name in the book. Threaten me. I don't give a who you are. Do not spread hate on someone that's innocent who's on the spectrum. Don't you dare.
In her second video, she was much calmer and could get her points across.
Okay, I think I calmed down a little bit after that last video. I do apologize if I kind of like stirred or startle anybody. But it just really bothered me that when my brother came into my room and he told me about the hate comments, he started crying. That's what made me really upset.
Andrea kept repeating that her autistic brother was the kindest soul who didn't deserve such treatment.
But just be kind. It's not that difficult, people. He is the happiest human fucking being I've ever met in my life. People today are miserable as over the dumbest shit. And he is so happy. And that makes him upset? Mm-mm.
Now, in these videos, Icierra's name wasn't mentioned. It only hinted that Andrea might not have gotten a full grasp of her brother's situation, especially with the one and only person who had been his bane of existence. Many people believe Icierra had something to do with it, and Icierra, being the unapologetic person she was, couldn't care less. Instead of apologizing and reducing her excesses, she doubled down and raised her obsessive behavior to a new level of crazy. And here's where things get darker, because it wasn't just puppets or Greg Icierra had obsessed over. She had also latched onto real creators. And while Greg and her puppets might have been able to ignore her, real people couldn't. The Greg saga only brought users' attention to Icierra's abnormal fixations. Her relationships before and after Greg were nothing to write home about, especially because they weren't the average love story you'd find on the internet. This was one arena where her chaotic tendencies truly shone through. Her relationship history. Or more accurately, her pseudo-relationship history. Because while most people can look back on past boyfriends and say, yeah, that was a learning experience, Icierra looks back on her relationships like a war veteran looking back on traumatic deployments. Except in her case, the trauma was almost always self-inflicted. To nobody's surprise, the characters in this saga are not completely normal. We're not talking about stable, well-adjusted people who got caught up in a storm. We're talking about folks who in one way or another had red flags plastered all over them before Icierra even entered the picture. And yet somehow Icierra managed to take these situations, already shaky on their own, and make them infinitely worse. What resulted was a history of obsession, manipulation, unhealthy attachment, and outright comedy, because there were moments that sounded less like real life and more like a rejected episode plot from some grim Adult Swim cartoon. So let's dive into it, the story of Icierra's romantic life. Or maybe it's better to call it the story of her attempted romantic life, since a lot of this falls short of what most people would consider dating. We'll start with Jesse James Thompson, better known as Gothic Metal Maniac. According to the information provided on Kiwi Farms, this was Icierra's first actual boyfriend. The two maladjusted kids met in 2014 and quickly hit things off thanks to their shared love for each other's aesthetics. JJ and Icierra started dating, and for a while, everything seemed fine, or at least fine by the standards of chronically online teenagers. They remained together all the way until Icierra began her infamous TikTok career. But like everything in Sierra's orbit, the relationship was never stable. It was on and off throughout the 2018. Their bond eventually collapsed completely by the end of the year.
Good friends, you know, trying to figure out what's wrong with me, but then I realized it. And this is what I realized. Don't date boys with the letter J, okay? Just don't.
The funniest part about JJ's role in all of this was that he was basically invisible during the actual relationship. He barely appeared on her page, barely came up in her content, until suddenly when the breakup happened, he became more relevant than ever. That's a recurring pattern with Icierra. People only matter to her after they've left. While she has them, she takes them for granted. But the moment they're gone, she transforms into a digital poltergeist, haunting them through TikTok videos and obsessive commentary. JJ was merely the prototype for what was to come. JJ's exit coincided suspiciously with the rise of Sierra's emotional energy for years to come, Gregory. Well, we've already seen how Greg's story unfolded. After the Greg situation ended, viewers were forced to witness yet another one of Sierra's disturbing relationship dynamics. And I must say, the strangest relationships TikTok had ever seen truly began to unfold. Once Icierra decided someone was her boyfriend, that was it. Boundaries didn't exist. She spammed messages, flooded their content with I love you comments, and freaked out publicly if they didn't reciprocate. Let me remind you that this was a lady in her 20s throwing tantrums at men who either knew her or didn't, but they weren't exactly boyfriends per se. They were her so-called online brothers. These were the men she essentially harassed into becoming part of her orbit, treating them with the same level of obsessive attention she naturally gave her actual romantic partners. And the disturbing part was that she often blurred the line between brother and boyfriend, making the whole thing feel like one long parasocial drama. Take Ryan McGuire, for instance. Ryan was Sierra's one that got away. The two had been friends since 2016. Icierra had shared the story with her followers once.
So, back in 2016, I have met a guy named Ryan. He was a sweet, kind gentleman. He seemed to like me a lot. Yeah, like really like me. I met him way back before TikTok even exists.
Icierra had painted Ryan as someone who liked her deeply and supported her. She often posted about him. At long last, in 2018, Ryan had had enough of Icierra's homophobic behavior, so he blocked her. That was it. He cut her off. For most people, being blocked was the end of the story, but for Icierra, it was just the beginning. She released dozens of videos begging him to unblock her, to take her back, to restore what they had.
Hi guys, this is an announcement from my brother Ryan. Please bro, forgive me if you're watching this. I love you bro. I love you so much. Please, come back. I love you.
In the middle of all this chaos, she admitted publicly that she had romantic feelings for him. And if you connect the dots, it seemed suspiciously like she broke up with JJ in part to pursue Ryan. But Ryan wasn't interested. He's bisexual, and he didn't appreciate her homophobic comments. Icierra even explained this bit on her TikTok page.
After the live stream, I decided to make a video about why I don't support LGBTQ. So after I got my video done, I tagged Ryan in so he could help me out, not to avoid me. Yeah, he avoided me. He blocked me and everything. Like, really? He was my everything and I really loved him very much. I honestly didn't know he was bisexual. What the frick?
Sadly, Icierra still failed to grasp the fact that she was entirely problematic, and instead of taking accountability, she enlisted help from another one of her brothers, Nicholas, to literally try and summon Ryan through occult means. Yes, summoning. Online ritual magic. Like we've fully transitioned from TikTok drama to a rejected supernatural subplot. And as you rightfully guessed, it didn't work. Ryan stayed gone. Till her final TikTok days, Icierra still posted about missing him.
I want you.
Then it got to a point where she shared a video of him with a sound that hinted that she was in support of his sexuality. Truly, her relationships were less like dating arcs and more like cursed fanfiction. Moving on, after Ryan left the picture, there was Nicholas Icierra, who played the role of her most loyal enabler.
If you haters don't like Icierra's content, then why the heck follow her? Jeez, it's not that hard. Anyways, haters, leave her alone for once in your life.
Out of all the brothers, he did the most of Icierra's bidding. He would duet with her videos, defend her from critics.
Look, haters, if you don't like Icierra's content, then why follow her? Why follow her? Because if you haters don't like Icierra Green's content about her boyfriend, y'all can go yourselves.
And like we saw not long ago, he even made videos attempting to use his so-called occult powers to summon Ryan back into Icierra's life. You don't see this level of dedication from other simps on the internet now, do you? Anyway, Nicholas was her digital white knight, propping up her delusions when no one else would. And yet, eventually, even he had had enough. Nicholas blocked her. He had gotten tired of her homophobia.
Thanks for the question. The reason why I'm not friends with her because she wasn't supportive to the LGBTQ community, and she got herself into a predicament for being homophobic.
And her endless demands.
Icierra Green, I know I have you blocked, and I needed a break from you. But you're overwhelmingly tagging me in your videos like a bunch of race cars speeding to the finish line. Icierra, we went over this before I blocked you.
If the guy who believed he could summon people through magic rituals decides you're too much trouble, you have seriously crossed the line. Finally, Icierra's next and perhaps last online brother was a guy named Sammy Cohn. Sammy was the perfect example of how Icierra roped people in under false pretenses. After Ryan blocked her, she went live looking visibly upset. Sammy, in a moment of misplaced kindness, joined her stream because he thought she looked sad.
So 2 years ago, I found this person, Icierra, on TikTok on the For You page, and so I joined her live stream. And I noticed she was a little bit sad considering the fact that her old internet brother, Ryan, blocked her because she didn't support LGBTQ.
He learned about the Ryan situation, and perhaps out of pity, volunteered to replace him as her internet brother.
Old internet brother, Ryan, blocked her because she didn't support LGBTQ, which I was unaware of at the time because I didn't know that was the reason that he blocked her. So then I decided to step in and propose to be her new internet brother. Little did I know that was a mistake.
What Sammy didn't realize was that by doing this, he had essentially signed a lifelong contract to be spammed, harassed, and overwhelmed with attention.
Because ever since she accepted me as her internet brother, she has done nothing but ping me non-stop, almost daily to weekly to monthly, for 2 years.
For 2 years, she bombarded his notifications. He begged her to stop. She ignored him and pulled her disability card as always.
So I kindly asked her to stop pinging me so much. And she would always bring up a bunch of excuses like how much she wants to express her love and saying that her disability was the problem even though it wasn't. To basically make a long story short, I want to move on from this, but she still doesn't.
Eventually, Sammy decided enough was enough. He told her he was done being her brother and even went public with the story of how it all fell apart. When you lay these stories side by side, Ryan, Nicholas, Sammy, it becomes clear that Icierra couldn't differentiate between romantic partners and platonic companions. She treated them all the same way, as objects of obsession, as a people she could cling to, and as characters in the ongoing soap opera of her life. Her behavior, the endless spam, the public meltdowns when they distanced themselves, they all indicated that Icierra was a mess. For her, relationships weren't about mutual respect, trust, or communication. They were about possession. She didn't even care about the individuality of the people she attached herself to. JJ's was invisible until he left. Greg was desirable because of his puppet. Ryan was valuable until he set boundaries. Nicholas was a tool for her agenda. Sammy was a replacement part for Ryan. These weren't real relationships. They're roles in a script she's directing. And like any bad director, she didn't respond well when her actors quit. She begs them to come back, lashes out when they refuse, and rewrites the narrative in her head to make herself the victim. It's tragic in some ways, but it's also undeniably absurd. So when you step back and look at the bigger picture, the accusations about minors didn't come out of nowhere. They're part of a disturbing escalation. First, it was grown men being hounded by Icierra's unwanted affection. Then it was cognitively impaired creators like Greg, being manipulated into fake relationships. And finally, it was children. Icierra gravitated toward people she felt she could control, or more charitably, people who wouldn't push back against her intensity. It wasn't entertainment, it was pure exploitation. And that's where people stopped laughing. Because yes, Icierra was cringe. Yes, she was eccentric. Yes, she yelled at kids for copying her cardboard ears like she was the CEO of intellectual property. But when you're pulling actual kids into your orbit in ways that make them feel uncomfortable, Random Act stops being funny. Icierra's behavior on Discord raised serious concerns about her interactions with younger users, but perhaps we can look at it as a development that her strange relationships had put her on. When news of her Discord activities spread, netizens quickly reacted. First of all, they infiltrated her Discord page, and then they spread awareness on who Icierra truly was. Their collective actions eventually led to her TikTok account getting banned. As expected, TikTok users were overjoyed. Icierra was off the radar during this time, and this was when something shocking began to happen on social media. For some reason, everyone thought Icierra died. News reports published it. Creators posted about it.
She's a TikToker by the name Icierra. Recently, there's been speculations that she's dead. Multiple websites have reported this, but the report is unconfirmed. This rumor started circulating after all Icierra's social media was deactivated in late May.
Obituary posters were shared. After a while, Icierra eventually returned to the TikTok scene in her new account, and the rumors of her death died down. But instead of fully acknowledging what happened or making a grand apology video, Icierra did nothing. She never addressed the allegations head-on. Instead, she kept posting about all her other obsessions until her account was closed down. So what do we take away from the story of Icierra Green, aka Icierra, aka the self-proclaimed cardboard ear furry of TikTok? It's easy to laugh. And to be fair, most people did. The cardboard ears, the puppet romances, the meltdowns over kids taping triangles to their heads. It was the perfect storm of cringe content. Icierra was bizarre enough to go viral, vulnerable enough to spark pity, and controversial enough to generate endless drama. But underneath the memes and mockery, Icierra's story teaches us to be careful with people with obsessive behaviors. The internet gives everyone a stage. Without TikTok, she'd probably still be making videos in her room for an audience of 0. However, with TikTok, she was suddenly being seen by thousands, sometimes millions, of strangers. Every odd quirk, every rant, every mistake was magnified 100-fold. Icierra wasn't just making content, she was begging for connection. Every brother she recruited, every puppet she dated, every meltdown livestream was an attempt to pull people closer. But online relationships don't work that way. When you demand intimacy from strangers, you don't get real friendship. You get backlash, trolls, and eventually allegations. And the worst thing? She overshared. She told the internet everything, and TikTok isn't built for nuance. It's built for spectacle. The people who tuned in weren't there to support Icierra. They were there to watch her crash, especially after she put herself out there as a homophobic art-stealing creator. Icierra wasn't built for the internet. She struggled with disabilities, personal trauma, and loss. Instead of working through those issues privately, she turned them into content. Icierra's life became a reality show that she couldn't turn off. And when the ratings dropped, when the allegations surfaced, when TikTok banned her, everything went to dust. At the end of the day, Icierra's legacy is twofold. She's remembered as a meme, the furry girl with cardboard ears, meltdowns, and puppet boyfriends, but she's also remembered as a warning, proof that the internet isn't a safe place for everyone, that fame can be toxic, that oversharing can destroy you. Icierra's story isn't unique. The internet is littered with people like her, eccentric, vulnerable, unstable, who become content machines for audiences that don't care about them. Icierra just happened to burn a brighter stranger and faster than most. And when it was all over, she left nothing behind but cardboard ears, broken parasocial relationships, and a question that still hangs in the air. Was Icierra a victim of the internet? We can't say. But what we know is this. Icierra Green's saga is one of the weirdest, saddest, and most depraved chapters in TikTok history. What do you think? Is Icierra the most degenerate TikToker you've ever seen? Or was she just misunderstood? Leave an answer in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and see you in our next video. The internet is one big place where shocking stories emerge almost on a daily basis, but very few among them stand out as outright disturbing and deranged. Meet Brent Johnson, a 27-year-old chronically online man TikToker, from allegedly doing shady things on his own sister.
I was looking at my sister's profile on Facebook, and then it was a previous profile, and then I said, "You look beautiful as mom," and I just want to say I love you so much. And then she deleted the comment, and she blocked me on both Facebook and Instagram.
To literally getting caught for sending inappropriate messages to a minor.
Wait, so you texted a minor?
It was an accident. No.
You know if he was a minor, right?
I do not know.
Brent's rabbit hole is actually a very deep one. Brent's entire online career revolves around his obsession with the Disney movie Cars, and his love for the character the Lightning McQueen, and this has definitely caused his audience to be filled with more minor. This, however, makes him even more dangerous, as his behavior is not merely inappropriate, but rather that of someone who is pretty much defined as a predator. He has been caught multiple times talking inappropriately with a minor even after they told him their age. And instead of taking accountability, Brent would get mad at the person who brought it up on his live stream, saying that celebrities like Ariana Grande and Justin Bieber might see it and end up hating him, which is insane and delusional on top of his already disgusting predatory behavior.
And now people's gonna hate me too. What if celebrities hates me? What if like Ariana Grande or Justin Bieber or every celebrity hates me? We bring that up for other people up.
And not just that, Brent has also displayed behaviors involving the exploitations of a person's mental health problems for grooming, as he was caught at one point upon a 16-year-old whom he initially decided to walk away from, only to immediately return after she told him she has autism. While all of this is already bad and very disturbing, it is only the tip of the Brent iceberg, as there are far more disturbing events we are going to unravel. Brent's shocking story actually started before he was even born, as his father, who was very abusive, would abuse Brent's mother while she was pregnant with Brent. This eventually led her parents to take her away, and from that day on, Brent's father completely removed himself from Brent's life. And his mother's side is no different either, as his uncle is a convicted against a minor and was sentenced to prison in 2005, which is definitely not a good beginning for our man of the hour. While having no father figure as a kid is a bad beginning by itself, Brent had additional problems that made his life even more miserable. Brent is diagnosed with autism, and has also struggled with anger issues, which would later affect his actions as we go further down these rabbit holes. Although having all of these unfortunate conditions can sometimes be enough to explain certain behaviors, there are still boundaries, and Brent crossed them not just once, but multiple times. Soon enough, he would be placed into foster care. While the exact reason remains unclear, it could have been due to his mother's inability to financially provide for him, or, as many people allege, because of something shady he did involving one of his sisters, which would actually become a massive controversy later in his TikTok career. Despite his foster parents adopting him and being generous toward him, Brent showed little gratitude. He would get into physical altercations and, in his own words, admitted to abusing his foster parents, who were elderly. And this marks the first of many terrible actions that are about to unfold.
Okay, now hear me. So, you said that you were abusing your parents? In that context.
My foster parents. But that's
foster parents, yes.
That's when I was a teenager back then.
Yes. However, this still matters because ICE would use any excuse of one's criminal record, no matter how minor, no matter how young, in order to deport people.
Besides his anger problems, Brent seemed somewhat popular in high school, or at least he was desperate to be popular. He had a dream of becoming a popular singer, just like Justin Bieber, to quote him, but unfortunately he had no talent, nor did he put in the work to get any closer to that dream. Instead, he saw himself as a rock star, performing at various high school events, when in reality he was nothing more than a laughingstock.
It's been a long day without you, my friend. And I tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way.
After graduating from high school in 2017, Brent was placed into a group home in Arizona once he became a legal adult, where he still lives to this day. However, becoming an adult did nothing to improve his behavior. If anything, his anger issues only escalated over time. Much like his earlier experiences in foster care, Brent was chaotic and volatile in the group home environment. He became involved in physical violence, even punching one of his roommates in the face, which led to an official incident report being filed against him.
What happened of what?
Was the IR report.
I was like punching him like twice.
Okay, so it was a little scuffle, yes?
Yes, sir.
Was there any bruising? Was there any bleeding?
I don't know. There was no bruising. It's just that he said, ow, and then he gave me the one who takes care of me gave me a warning. He gave me a warning, and that's why I was like, I'm gonna have to be in IR for that, Brent.
But everything would take a much darker turn for Brent in late 2020, when he created his very first TikTok account, an action that would permanently alter the trajectory of his life. Despite already being 21 years old at the time, Brent continued to behave more like a child, frequently carrying around toys and, more importantly, obsessing over the Disney movie cars. He built his entire online presence around this fixation, with a particular focus on the character Tow Mutter. While having an obsession like this is not unheard of, what made Brent's situation stand out was how completely it consumed his identity. He built his entire persona around it, to the point where it seemed he had no life outside of his fixation on tow mater. Even with all of this, Brent's TikTok account remained relatively small, pulling in only a few hundred views and little to no engagement on most of his videos. That would all change on May 5th, 2024, when his Ariana Grande cover of One Last Time unexpectedly went viral on TikTok.
One last time, I need to be the one who takes you home. One last time, I promise after that.
Following this viral moment, Brent finally met the requirements to go live on TikTok, and it was during these live streams that Brent's online career, and ultimately his entire life, would change forever. He began revealing more and more about his personal life on stream, with his most common and now infamous activity being singing songs live for his audience.
I got the swag in me. I got the swag in me. That's what you wanted to see.
And also lifting weights and flexing his Greek god physique. And after gaining traction on the app, Brent would do something that became his very first controversy. Brent has always wanted to go to Disneyland, but since he had been unemployed for many years, he was unable to afford the trip financially. However, once he became relatively famous on TikTok in March of 2025, he opened a GoFundMe aimed at raising money for a Disneyland trip. This quickly became his first major controversy, creating significant backlash among his viewers. From the start, GoFundMe is designed for emergencies, medical bills, or disaster relief, as opposed to funding a luxury Disneyland trip, which already made Brent's actions highly questionable. What made the situation even worse is that Brent already had a decent following on TikTok and was making large amounts of money through live stream donations, far exceeding what he was asking for through his GoFundMe. In addition to this, he also receives money from the Colorado River Indian Tribe Fund because he is a Native American. On top of all of that, Brent had already been to Disneyland before, meaning this was not his first visit, despite him attempting to present it that way. And not knowing all of this, people would go on to donate to his GoFundMe, allowing Brent to raise a whopping $1,700. But even after raising this much money in the name of a dream trip to the happiest place in the world, as he puts it, Brent decided to cancel the trip for unspecified reasons, barely mentioning it afterward. Following this, Brent was seen purchasing more and more toys and other items, making it very clear that he was using the GoFundMe money to buy all of this instead. And when people brought up the GoFundMe, he would get angry and attempt to victimize himself, even though he had just scammed people in broad daylight.
Fundraiser, whereas on your end, you're doing it just so that way you could go to Disneyland. That's not an emergency. That's not a desperate call for help. You're using it for you to go and fulfill a dream that you could have easily accomplished by yourself with your Indian tribe money as well as your TikTok funds.
Okay, well, I guess I'm not going to my Disneyland trip then.
Yeah, I don't think you should. Not with that money.
But this was not the end of Brent's controversy. If anything, it was only the beginning. As he started streaming more and more, one thing became very consistent, and that was Brent's emotional immaturity. He not only failed to process even the smallest amount of criticism in a healthy way, but would also cry over nearly everything, and go as far as repeatedly blocking people from his chat for making some of the most normal comments. He blocked me because I said rest in peace Lightning McQueen. Bro blocked me because I said I am McQueen. And not just that, but at times Brent would also throw tantrums over very minor inconveniences. On one occasion, while talking to a random girl on a live stream, one of his moderators also spoke to her. Brent became so upset by this that he decided to stop talking altogether during the live stream. And this naturally attracted trolls who became more interested in him, leading to a new era where people began creating their own TikTok accounts to repost Brent's worst moments from his live streams, something he did not appreciate at all.
I keep getting hate, criticism, making fun of, and especially what annoys me the most is making edits to me, and to me that is not okay.
But none of this deterred the trolls from taking an interest in Brent. If anything, it only made them more invested, pushing them to dig deeper into his private life. This scrutiny led to the discovery of one of the most intriguing aspects of Brent's story, his interactions, or rather the lack of them, with his own family. Despite documenting nearly every aspect of his life on TikTok, there was little to no evidence of Brent engaging with his family at all. And one particular person in his family that Brent had a very odd interaction with was his older sister, Jolene Johnson. On the night after Thanksgiving in 2023, Brent came across a post Jolene made on her Facebook account, which he replied to by saying, and I quote, "You look beautiful as mom." An important note here is that their mother passed away from cancer back in 2018. While Brent claimed he meant this purely out of brotherly love, Jolene did not appreciate the comment and deleted it right away, implying that some kind of existing issue already existed between the two.
Back in November of 2023, It was the day after Thanksgiving. I was looking at my sister's profile on Facebook, and then it was a previous profile, and then I said, "You look beautiful as mom," and I just want to say I love you so much. And then she deleted the comment, and I tried to video call her, but she hung up. But I also told her saying like, "Hey sister, if you're mad at me, if you watch this, would say I'm sorry. Can you forgive me?" And she blocked me on both Facebook and Instagram.
And while it is hard to deduce what really happened from this alone, or why Brent's sister chose to delete the comment, it was necessary for Brent to respect his sister's boundaries. However, Brent did not do that. If anything, he doubled down and began texting her nonstop. Jolene eventually became exhausted by this and decided to block Brent from all of her social media accounts. But in classic Brent fashion, he doubled down once again and effectively stalked his own sister by creating fake accounts to follow her on social media. After hearing this story, many of his followers became extremely intrigued and wanted to know more details, which led to repeated questions about it in his livestream chats. Bizarrely enough, Brent not only refused to talk about it, but would also break down emotionally every time someone brought up his sister.
You like Jolene's song?
I'm not gonna be answering that.
You think he's not gonna answer that?
It's making me uncomfortable. I think I gotta go.
Despite his viewers' intrigue, Brent's refusal to go into detail made it more difficult to put all the pieces together. Interestingly enough, both his older sister Jolene and his younger sister would later appear online answering a few questions. Jolene commented under one TikTok saying this, "How the freak am I even a topic? This was years ago. I blocked him because he always would blow up my phone by calling and texting me nonstop and would talk about me in public, so yes, I put up a wall." While his sister coming online and making these statements did confirm some of Brent's inappropriate behaviors, the overall details of the story still remained unclear. However, this entire fiasco would take a turn for the worse when people began assuming that the reason Brent was initially sent to foster care and later to a group home was because he assaulted his sister. While there is no solid evidence to support this claim, the fact that Brent was sent to juvenile detention when he was a teenager made the situation appear even more suspicious and led many people to believe this theory. Although the SA allegations are not backed by solid evidence, it is very clear that Brent has some dirty secrets he does not want the internet to know. To this day, he continues to stalk his sister against her wishes, and she is not the only woman Brent has obsessively stalked either. Brent had a high school crush named Lydia, whom he has been obsessed with for nearly 10 years. However, these feelings were never mutual. Lydia was not only uninterested, but she completely cut ties with Brent while they were still in high school. Despite this, Brent continued trying to get in contact with her after they graduated in 2018, repeatedly texting her. By 2023, Lydia had enough and decided to block Brent on all of her social media accounts. That still did not stop Brent. He created a new Facebook account to stalk Lydia and messaged her saying, "Lydia, it's me, Brent. I was wondering if we can be friends again if you're okay with it." By October 2023, Brent confirmed that he had been blocked once again.
She blocked me back in 2020, 2018, and 2023, and last year. Because one, I keep calling her, texting her so many times, and then next thing you know, I got blocked. That was back in 2018, and then back in 2023, I was messaging her on my new account saying, "Hey, it's me, Brent again. I was wondering if we become friends, and that's okay." And then I waited a couple months later, and then she ghosted me. And then back in March, I was following her on my new account again and adding her on friend request, but she blocked me on there too.
Even then, he did not give up and tried again in 2025. This time, however, he managed to get a response. But unfortunately for him, it was not Lydia. It was a fake account impersonating her. Due to Brent's growing infamy on TikTok and the presence of dedicated trolls, the story of Lydia became a major topic of discussion online. A group of trolls decided to create a fake Lydia account and contact Brent in order to learn more about his obsession, and ultimately expose him. It is also important to note that Lydia is already married, and Brent was fully aware of this. Despite that, he was extremely excited to talk to Lydia, and fell for the trap very easily. As the conversation continued, it became crystal clear that Brent was still romantically interested in Lydia. He not only flirted with her, but also took things further by calling her pet names and nicknames inspired by the Cars movie, yet another indication of how much his life revolves around that obsession. It is also notable from their text messages that Brent consistently played the victim. He frequently talked about his own problems and fished for sympathy, while showing little to no interest in the other person's life or struggles. Brent failed to realize that this was a sting operation, and continued interacting with the account. He even went as far as blocking his own friends and TikTok moderators at the request of the Lydia impersonator. Eventually, Brent discovered that his lifelong crush was actually a man behind a fake account, and he ended the interaction. Ironically, this was not the end of Brent's stalking behavior, as he would soon be caught in yet another controversy, involving a woman named Jasmine Garcia. Brent is extremely desperate when it comes to women, as no woman would realistically want to date someone like Brent, a man-child who cries on the internet and lacks any admirable traits. Because of this, he becomes obsessed with random women he encounters online, and one of those women was Jasmine. Jasmine is a YouTube content creator whom Brent claims to have followed since 2022. Brent came across her on TikTok and asked her to battle him. Jasmine, who did not know Brent personally, declined the request. This is where Brent completely lost it. In his mind, leaving a comment on someone's video and receiving a heart in return was equivalent to being in a relationship. So when Jasmine declined his request, he viewed it as a betrayal and reacted accordingly.
We can't be friends anymore.
I am Jasmine Garcia. That's fine, you know. No, she was on live stream, and I invited her to the live. She declined me twice. So Jasmine doesn't want to battle with me, and that's fine. She declined me twice or third time already. Sad and heartbroken.
It is mind-boggling to think that someone who cries over something as ridiculous as this exists, not to mention that he is pushing 30. And after this, Jasmine became aware of Brent's reaction, and his buddy trolls would flood her live streams, guilt-tripping her into going live with Brent.
Guys, I do remember Brent Johnson. I do. From my YouTube videos, he would comment on them. If I had another phone right now, I would go check on him, guys. Here, guys, I'm gonna wait for my sister to come back. He doesn't know how, and he's crying. No way, Fatih. Literally, screenshot him or send him to me or screen record him to me. Fatih, screen record him to me, bro. Because I just don't believe this is true. I feel like there's a lot of trolls on TikTok, guys. I don't know what's going on. I really don't know what's going on, guys. Stop, guys. Guys, just please go spam his chat that I love him, that I literally said I love him, and thank you so much for everything, and I don't know how to go live with him. If I did, I would do it. And that I do remember who he is, and that he is a blessing to this world. And yes, just tell him that. But anyways, guys, I'll try to follow him once I'm done on live.
And eventually Jasmine would agree to go live with Brent that night, and they did. But the problem was that Brent was the only one talking while she just sat there, likely thinking about leaving the stream. And the funniest part of it all is that he was trying to gain sympathy from her by framing himself as the victim, even bringing up the death of his mother despite it being more than 7 years ago, and dropping the legendary line that he lost his mother just 7 years ago.
People like to come up with the name so they can make fun of me.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, so they could just clip everything I say and then screen record everything. And yeah, it's just that I've gone through so much in my life. I don't want to give more detail because I'm a very emotional person. I just lost my mom like 7 years ago.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
After the livestream ended, Brent became overly excited, believing that Jasmine was romantically interested in him when nothing could be further from the truth.
Girl, I want to spend my life with you, and girl, I'm gonna be here for you. Cause mi amor, mi amor, mi amor, I want you to be my wife. Mi amor, mi amor, mi amor, cause I need you in my life.
Wow, that's really good, Brent. You made that?
Yeah, I just wrote it.
This clearly shows how deluded Brent's mindset is, because it was obvious from the start that Jasmine only joined the livestream due to people guilt-tripping her after she declined his request. And even if she had joined out of her own interest, that still would not mean she liked him, or that there was any romantic future between them. Although it took some time, Brent would eventually realize that Jasmine was not interested in him. Instead of accepting it and moving on, he chose to blame his trolls for telling Jasmine about his past, and then followed up by threatening to leave TikTok, something he constantly says but never actually does.
I don't know. I'm not gonna even talk about it. Look what that guy put. I should make a video about saying goodbye to you guys.
But if you think all of this is bad enough, you're in for a surprise, because Brent's behavior would become far more disturbing than anything we have covered so far. Brent repeatedly presents himself in his videos as an innocent, sweet guy with autism, who is harmless despite his few obsessions, but nothing could be further from the truth. Around early 2025, a screenshot of Brent's text messages with a 15-year-old was posted on TikTok. In those messages, Brent was caught saying highly inappropriate things, while fully knowing the age of the person he was talking to. Although this was disturbing, some of his viewers defended him, claiming there was no proof that the messages were actually from Brent, which would be a fair argument until he himself confirmed it. However, in the most ridiculous way possible, instead of admitting fault or taking accountability for his disgusting behavior, Brent completely changed the subject. He claimed that the account was not even a real woman, but an impersonator, as if that somehow excused his actions of intentionally speaking inappropriately to someone he believed to be a minor. Not to mention, this is exactly how predator catchers typically catch predators in the first place.
I thought it was just a female, but it was a male behind the account. But you know what? If people think I'm a bad person, which I'm not, it's just, I don't know why you read the comments out loud.
What made this even more ridiculous is that when the other person on the stream asked him about these allegations, Brent did not focus on the seriousness of the situation at all. Instead, he got visibly upset over the idea that celebrities might see this and end up hating him, showing how much deluded he really is on top of his disturbing behavior.
You really hurt me the way you read it out loud, and it's just making me uncomfortable and ask me too many questions. It just really hurts me.
I'm so sorry. I really don't mean to hurt you. I just don't know.
It really did. And now people's gonna hate me too. What if celebrities hates me? What if Ariana Grande or Justin Bieber or every celebrity hates me? We bring that up for other people up. It really hurts.
Although Brent admitted to texting a 15-year-old during this livestream, he would later deny it and tell a completely different story, while talking to someone in his DMs saying this. People have been saying that I was messaging a minor, which is not true. One person took a screenshot of my profile and tried to impersonate me by saying something inappropriate, which I would never text. I also didn't know what the word minor meant at the time, but I understand it now. The most baffling part about all of this is that Brent knows exactly what he is doing. He simply tries to excuse his behavior by acting clueless and playing the victim on TikTok so people will not press him too harshly. But Brent's behavior does not get any better. The trolls would later organize a sting operation by impersonating a 16-year-old girl named Marlena. At first, Brent did not realize this person's age, so he was talking desperately, even asking if he could date her, despite it being the very first date they were texting and him barely knowing anything about her. Soon after, Marlena told Brent her age, and Brent initially pulled away. However, the most baffling part is that once Marlena told Brent that she has autism, he immediately showed interest again, asking her when she would turn 18. This moment cuts through Brent's innocent victim narrative entirely. His immediate return after learning Marlena was autistic indicates he perceived her vulnerability as an opportunity for manipulation. And if this was not already bad enough, Brent would be caught again, this time asking another minor to be his girlfriend while fully knowing her age, and asking her to keep it a secret. At this point, it hardly needs any argument to show that Brent is a dangerous and disgusting predator. Yet he continues sympathy farming by going live every day and crying so people will feel bad for him. Every once in a while, another terrible thing he has done gets revealed, and when that happens, I will make sure to keep you guys updated. Until then, let me know what about Brent you find most baffling in the comments.
Why nobody told me to stop? I didn't see one person tell me to stop, bro. Don't gamble. Don't go to the casino. It's not worth it. Trust me. Put my mouth on these 4 Gatorades. It's embarrassing that I just paid to have, but this is my.
If clout chasing were to be an exam that is subjected to grading, Jan Clary would be awarded an F grade.
To myself, and I feel ashamed. Can't be mad at you for my choices. I'm the one to blame.
Here's an aspiring rapper who tried to chase clout at all costs, but failed spectacularly.
I kind of was just hoping that would go viral. It didn't really do much for me, but the point is, I started working at Taco Bell when I was 17 years old. I'm 30 now.
Not only did he fail to capture his target's attention, he also failed to attain the fame that clout chasers like Rabbithole typically get. But how did he become the case study for failure? It's simple. He let everything turn into trash. Unsurprisingly, that video was not his first. It all started when he was employed at CVS. He later revealed that he only took the job grudgingly because his real passion has always been to be a famous rapper.
People often overlook me, not understanding the emotions in me. I hope you can forgive me. I make things harder than they really should be. I sometimes push people away to bring them closer.
Or maybe it has always been to chase clout. A video of him when he was 13 made the rounds on the internet. In this video, he was showing his abs just for the views.
Hey yo, what's good? I'm doing it again. I'm gonna try to stop moving this time, but the reason why I'm doing this one is because I'm not even really sure, but y'all wanna see a little sign? Yeah, that's all, Jumani.
Juman describes this as being bold and thinking he could do anything at that time.
The younger version of me would not believe that the older version of me is what I am. You know, I used to live in my own fantasies, and
it was easy to see why Juman chose the path he did. As of 2021, when he was working with CVS, clout chasers and streamers were getting the bag. The now popular streamer, iShowSpeed, remains the most popular breakout star of the year. Kai Cenat's popular prank video also remains in memory. Some of his popular videos in 2021 include the one where he called some models the F-word just to elicit a reaction. These actions all catapulted him to fame, and led to his Streamer of the Year win at the Streamers Awards in 2022. All of these influenced Jan Clary's decision to chase clout and become famous. So he decided to pull what would become known as the CVS prank. In the video, he toppled every drug from the shelf rack. He intended to significantly gain traction, get followers, and then release his music video. But when he saw he didn't achieve his goal, he decided to take it up a notch, this time with food.
I'm done working in Subway. All of this clout chasing shit is temporary, bro. Deadass. I don't want to do this. I really don't want to be doing none of this. Everything, I'll throw everything on the floor, man. Deadass. I don't even care, bro. If this is what I gotta do, to get on, this is what I'm gonna do to get on, bro.
When this video got out, it became an internet sensation. It was so popular that news outlets featured it. It became a symbol of the extent to which people would go just to chase clout. But not everyone agreed with his methods.
First off, let me tell you something. I don't feel bad for Jermaine Wade losing his job. This is something that he's been doing for years. When he was at CBS, he knocked over all the stuff. When he worked for Rite Aid, he did the exact same thing. And now with Subway, this guy says he's trying to get noticed by Meek Mill, right? But no one has heard music from you. All we know is that you go into stores and you destroy stuff. But this was the last straw. You're drinking out of sodas and you're putting them back into the refrigerator. You're taking sandwich meats and spreading them all over the toilet and the floor. You're stomping on food. Honestly, bro, I don't know what's wrong with you, but this is not the way to go viral.
Another TikToker reacted that he was probably not fit to be employed by anyone again, since he can't just expect everything to go away because of one apology. Subway immediately distanced itself from him and fired him with immediate effect. Many called for Jumani to apologize for what he had done. He scoffed at this notion, insisting he had done nothing wrong and would not apologize for his choices.
This is not an apology video, because I personally believe a person cannot apologize about something that they intentionally did.
As it would turn out, things didn't go exactly as he expected. Save for the feature on the documentary series and a few followers he got on TikTok and YouTube, his bid to enter the world of influencing with insane followership was a total failure. He didn't even get the attention of Meek Mill, who was the reason why he had pulled the stunt. Instead, all he got was numerous backlashes from TikTokers and YouTubers, either making a mockery of him or calling him out for being stupid, and that was when he started his 171-part vlogging series on YouTube detailing his struggles. He also spiraled into betting and frequenting casinos in Las Vegas with the little money he had left to try to survive.
That's an easy $50 right here. That's one hit I should probably consider leaving, because I'm not trying to be here right now.
This plunged him into a gambling addiction that he could not get out of.
So yeah, I'm about to ban myself from the casino. That's the only way I could do it.
He also began to have psychological issues with women after his 15-year girlfriend wouldn't pick up his calls again.
Cash App. So Natalie, you know, me and her go back since high school. And, you know, she been ignoring me for 15 years. Why?
There was that one time he put some stuff over the top of the shelf in a mall just to spite a woman standing beside him. But behind this sad and depressed clout chaser lies a veil that masks the true story. To really understand Juman's action, one must either tear the veil or go far past it. His Subway video was when he got the fame he craved. But at what price? And for how long?
One thing that women have never did with me was give me an explanation. I've never got an explanation.
Juman is not the first of his kind. His case is similar to that of Vitaly, who rose to prominence for his rage-baiting content. His brand of clout chasing was to disrupt members of the public and provoke them to react.
How old are you?
I'm 23, she's 22.
Oh, so you guys are down to fuck?
Down to fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Like fuck.
Before then, his clout-chasing exploits saw him invade a pitch during the 2014 World Cup in his home country in Russia. This was the type of content Juman must have been looking to mirror when he decided to be an absolute pain to this woman. Incredibly, Vitaly's content soon landed him in some trouble in the Philippines, after one of his videos showed him harassing locals and stealing a security guard's motorcycle.
No, I have a question for you.
He was soon arraigned in a court in the Philippines and was sentenced to 9 months in prison. Since that got him even more famous, Juman thought going viral at all costs was the only way for him.
Yeah, bro. If this is what I gotta do, to get on, this is what I'm gonna do to get on, bro. And I don't know what else to do, so you feel me?
Vitaly's life after serving his prison sentence was not so different from Juman's. When he was in prison, he lost a lot of muscle, and was seen with a long beard and a significantly altered face in one of Adine Ross's streams. Emery Bingham was another TikToker whose life mirrored Juman's. She first went viral for making reaction videos, but then she started to pump herself up and weave a web of lies about her lifestyle and career. Just like these guys, Juman's video hit all the spots it should have hit, and he got all the attention he wanted to get. The National Film Board of Canada came around and featured him on Anything for Fame, a documentary that followed the extent that people are willing to go to just to chase clout. In the documentary, he mentioned that content creators make their own rules regardless of the consequences, which sets them apart.
There might be consequences to being a content creator, but as far as the rules, you make the rules.
But that was all he got. He went back to being a nobody who worked at a hotel he absolutely hated. In the first 2 years after his viral video, he only earned $500 from his content.
The amount of money that I've made over time from my content, I probably made a little bit more than $500, but
he couldn't even pay his rent, and he couldn't pay an exterminator to get rid of his mouse situation. At some point, he had no food to eat.
I currently have no food in my refrigerator, as well as nothing in the freezer, so I'm gonna go to Dollar Tree and get a few things, because lately I've been surviving on ramen.
He was also living off little donations, such as $5. As expected of someone who is living off donations from people, these people would feel entitled to hold an opinion about the way he lives his life. But when the trolling started, he asked people to stop donating.
What's up, it's Jumani. I'm gonna be making changes within my content. Please don't send me any donations with the expectation for a shout out. I am no longer doing shout outs for donations. A lot of people been manipulating my comment section, lying, and in result, I'm just gonna be making changes. Cause even though the donations are positive,
At some point, he had just a little over $2 in his account. It would seem like no matter what Juman does, he is never going to get the fame he was looking for. After 5 years of his famous video, he could only get 28.5 thousand subscribers on YouTube and 484 followers on TikTok. Canadian filmmaker Tyler Funk had a perfect explanation for why going viral does not automatically translate to making a crazy amount of money.
That's a really big myth that the social media platforms really put out there. Go viral and you're set. You've made it. You're famous. You've got it. And again, with traditional fame, typically if you were famous, it was because you had an album or you were in a movie and you were kind of set financially. Now that's really separated. You can go viral, but you need to have a marketing plan to figure out what you're going to sell.
This is one crucial part that Juman clearly missed. But even when he got to be among the few who got to monetize their content, he still clearly struggles. But make no mistake, Juman's problems are all self-inflicted. One of the comments in his subreddit expressed this line of thought saying, "If you look up self-sabotage in the dictionary, you see a picture of Jan Clary. He was for real on his way to getting a ton of views/subs. He collects thousands of dollars in YouTube payouts that he could have used to invest in himself, but gambles it all away. And we shouldn't even get started on the numerous donations he receives from his fans and well-wishers, particularly from Orion James, who once donated $2,000 at a go."
I've been thinking about this all night last night before I went to sleep. Shout out to Orion. He sent me more than $2,000. This $1,000 that he sent me is just one payment. He also sent $500. This is just in Cash App. And then the first payment that he sent me during the live stream was a $396 donation on Cash App. Bro has also sent me a couple $100 on YouTube and Super Chats. He also sent me a couple $100 on TikTok.
There was even a time he got a $5,000 donation. He easily could have gotten an exterminator to take care of his rat problem, pay off his debts, his house rent, and even buy himself a bed. But instead of doing all that, he decided moving from Providence to Las Vegas was the best move for him. But everyone knows that was just to fuel his gambling addictions. Indeed did fuel his gambling addictions, because he gambled away almost half of the $5,000 donation he got.
Embarrassing as it is, somebody reached out to me and gave me $5,000 to pay off all my credit card debt. I took that money, I paid off most of my debt, but I eventually gambled whatever, it was like $2,000 left out of the $5,000. And then I would eventually get back into credit card debt, which I was only like in, let's say, $1,000 debt.
He started regretting every action he had ever taken. The most unforgettable was when he expressed his regrets about breaking up with his girlfriend and implored his viewers to help him get her back.
Cash App. So Natalie, you know, me and her go back since high school. And, you know, she been ignoring me for 15 years. Why? I don't know, bro. But I need all my supporters to help me get her back, bro. I need her to respond.
He downloaded Facebook and connected with a woman named Natalie. He then asked his supporters to help him get her attention, because he's been chasing her since high school, despite her ignoring him for 15 years. Reacting to this, his followers could not believe he was still hung up on a woman after 15 years. One of them even gave a possible reason why she's been ignoring him. She's been ignoring me for 15 years, maybe because she has a family as a loyal wife and mom. The most insane part, it was the message he sent to her. It says, "Hey, what's up? And if you need anything, let me know. What's your Cash App?" Imagine someone living on $5 donations and the likes, and with a crippling debt, trying to get his high school lover back, and the first thing that came to his mind when he reached out was not to check up on how she was doing, not to ask to connect as friends, but to ask for her Cash App. You are thinking it too, right? What is wrong with this guy? He basically just doxed her. And even though everyone in this world knew he was broke, had a gambling problem, and a crippling debt, he expresses a desperate willingness to provide for her and her children.
Listen, I'm more than happy to provide for you. So whatever you need from me, just let me know. Like, for real.
People find it laughable that he genuinely thought he could do that. He even went as far as to threaten to stop creating content entirely if she does not respond to him.
For my supporters, I need to get her to respond to me. Something. Because if not, I don't know, I'm just not motivated to do anything.
He certainly knew what he was doing when he set his fans on her. It was so bad that she had to change the outlook of her Facebook page. This guy is so out of touch that the next thing he could think of saying was that he does not believe in love, because he felt women were not taking him seriously due to his status.
If I didn't have good social status, if I didn't have financial stability, women don't want nothing to do with me. And that might apply to most men, but like some men might be able to get away with that, like in a sense. But for me, I just knew, like, I just stopped believing in love, to simplify that.
But can anyone blame the women in his life for not taking him seriously? This is a guy who has a gambling problem and a crippling debt, and who lives in a ridiculously small room without a good mattress.
Sleeping on the floor, it has no air in it, it has a hole somewhere, so, you know, I'm down bad, like, for real, so it's a shame and it's embarrassing, honestly.
That was probably why they all saw him, and the first thing that came to their minds was to avoid him without any explanation.
Never did with me was give me an explanation. I've never got an explanation.
It also did not take long for him to start taking loans just to survive. The problem was not that he wanted to take the loan, the problem was what he intended to do with it.
They offered me a $2,000 loan, and just me, I'm just thinking, like, you know, whatever, I'm gonna take that money and do the wrong thing.
He also started showing signs of psychological issues. One of the pointers was when he was kicked out of a hotel for stealing and then laughing it off. His life off the internet was equally badly affected. After the subway stunt he pulled, no company wanted to hire him anymore.
But this is the job that hired me, and they sent me an email saying, "Dear Jelani, thank you for taking the time to interview for the position of a guest service agent. After carefully considering, we decided to pursue other candidates whose experience more closely aligns with the needs of the position. We truly appreciate the effort you put into the process and would be happy to keep your information on file for future opportunities that may be a great fit. We wish you every success."
To make matters worse for him, another company fired him immediately after he was hired when they realized who he is.
Called me right after hiring me to say, "Hey, we did a further background check," to tell me that they can't hire me.
That one time he chased clout has left an indelible mark on him, making him unwanted. But how unwanted? Juman himself detailed this in the 171-part series he titled Through the Struggles. Following his short stint at fame, Juman realized that he was never really going to be that guy, so he started to detail his struggles. And there were a lot of them. A large part of the series detailed his addiction to gambling. YouTuber Chris Robson confirmed this publicly.
Apparently he got some kind of gambling addiction, or did. because he was doing some wild stuff, man.
The major problem for him was that he was living on small donations, but he was gambling it all away. He once gambled $1,000 all in one night in a casino. To offer himself some sort of justification, he often framed his casino trips not as an addiction, but as a business trip, essential to fund his content creation efforts.
Like $1,000 that's coming in, so that's outside of my YouTube. And then once I do get that money, I'm gonna break that money down and start going to the casino with less and less money, $70 to be exact, in order to make more content. But
sometimes fortune favors him, and he does return home winning, just like the time he won what he called one of the easiest $50 ever. There was another famous time he won more than $200 with his last money, but for the most part, he always regretted gambling. There was a point he self-banned himself from going to the casino, just so he could avoid incessantly losing money.
So yeah, I'm about to ban myself from the casino. That's the only way I could do it.
While his 171-part vlogs largely detailed his gambling addiction, there were other issues that Juman was facing. Some parts of the series captured how people sometimes had to give him $1 just to live by, how he paid to have
It's embarrassing that I just paid to have, but this is my, I took it with me, you know what I mean? But you know what that is. She been ignoring me for 15 years. Natalie, if you seeing this, respond, please. Listen.
How people have been making fun of his teeth.
A lot of people on the internet been making fun of my teeth. And I gotta do something about that. And I know that candy is the reason why my teeth are kind of yellow. Well, they're not kind of yellow, they are yellow. I just gotta do a better job with taking.
How he needed donations just to feed himself. How he could not afford to go to a barbershop to get a haircut, so he does it himself. Showing his small apartment, which could only fit a bed, a table, and a chair. How he sometimes had just 82 cents in his bank account, and had to technically sleep on the cold, hard floor because his bed had a hole in it. How he cried after losing all his money at the casino. And now, he is living in so much debt that he had to sell off all his belongings at the pawn shop.
I'm really in a bad position right now. Maxed out all my credit cards. And cash, I got so much debt right now, it's ridiculous. Pawn shop, I lost so many items that I spent thousands of dollars on.
YouTuber Chris Jobson believed this must have been a result of his unwillingness to ask and receive help from people who are trying to help him.
He's probably had people in his life that have tried to help him or get him help, and he's rejected it because he seems to have a strong personality type. It
is easy to see why they came to that conclusion. Juman once had a collab with Bray Laughs, who followed him to the casino to gamble. Later that day, Bray Laughs goes to the supermarket to get Juman a bed, because he had once complained about his predicament preventing him from buying a bed, and so he was practically sleeping on the floor. However, after Bray Laughs got the bed for him, Juman rejected the gift. Bray knew right there Juman was not someone he should be dealing with or offering to help. He was beyond redemption at that point. What makes this worse than it might appear was that there was a time when he was homeless, he checked into a hotel, and then recorded and posted a video of himself taking pillows, bed sheet, and toilet paper.
I will be taking 2 pillows from the hotel, and I'll be taking some sheets. In fact, I'm probably just gonna ask housekeeping if I can get some extra sheets.
So the same guy who had no problem doing that is now saying he doesn't want the gift of someone who was willing to give a bed to sleep on. That just shows how problematic the guy became. That seemed to be clear to anyone but Juman himself. Instead of accepting the fact that he needed help, he instead posted a 6-minute video of himself purely crashing out. He started out by talking about exactly what everyone has been saying, needing to get some help. Maybe he is not so out of touch with what he needs. Maybe it's just that he still believed he had to stay in his clout-chasing persona, and he would make his mark from there. And that is precisely where his faux assurance comes in, where he thinks he still has so much more to give than he already is doing.
And I know I have the potential to be better, but I haven't shown that. I haven't shown it in the last 10, 15 years, throughout my whole life, you know what I mean?
That was when he got to the most annoying part of the entire charade. While acknowledging the fact that he needed help and refusing said help, he instead went gambling again with $2,000, losing every single cent of it.
Obviously, you could tell I lost my money, but I lost $2,000 right now.
The problem is not just that he lost such a sizable amount of money gambling, but that he had crippling debts, which he could have settled with the money. However, instead of getting the help or trying to rethink his gambling proclivities, what he said he wanted to do.
I'm really thinking about crashing out, you know what I'm saying? Because, and when I say crashing out, I'm talking about going viral, all of that, everything.
Not just any kind of crashing out, he's thinking of something else to do to chase clout, something else that will give him the kind of fame he's been chasing. To him, the process is just not fast enough. So to hasten the process, he thought of reenacting another Subway video. Go to a store, destroy their goods and shelves, and post it on the internet for fame. That one time did not drive the intended fame. He felt he needed more.
I immediately was compulsive and I was ready to crash out. Like I was ready to go into a store and go viral like that.
And it didn't take long for him to start to show glimpses. The insane thing about him is that he is very fickle. One moment he is talking about how he should be taking responsibility for his actions, acknowledging that he has not been making good choices, which is making it difficult for him to do anything.
Got to take responsibility for my circumstances. And definitely got to take responsibility for my choices. Say I'm responsible for my choices. I don't make good choices. I have not made good choices in my life, and it's the reason why I'm in the circumstances that I'm.
I have to take up a lot of responsibility.
The next moment, he is talking about why having a job is also not good for him.
It's just like, I don't know how long I could do this. I don't know how longer I could go back and forth from jobs. Like I really want. I'm putting in my 2 weeks. I don't want to, and I can't afford to, but...
It is perhaps just sheer laziness, but he hides behind a so-called clear goal. He had just one mission, to be a content creator, and he was not going to listen to any advice that was not in line with that.
And my only career choice that works for me is being a content creator. I'm tired of people giving me advice. I do not ask for your advice. Stop telling me to do anything but be a content creator.
It wasn't just the big losses, it was the small daily humiliations. He documented the literal weight of his situation, how stress changed his appearance, and how the lack of a proper diet was making him sluggish and with yellow teeth. His living situation became a recurring character. The cramped quarters represented his shrinking world. He would often film from his bed because there was nowhere else to stand. As the series crossed a 100 video mark, the tone shifted from frantic survival to exhausted resentment. This is where he started to hate his reintegration into the workforce, and highlighted the implications his ordeals have had on his mental health.
My mental health isn't that good, and plus my tolerance is very low with a lot of different things. Push it forward, make sure I stay in the right place mentally, emotionally, and I'm really tired of talking, man. I get headaches kind of like expressing myself because it just hasn't been beneficial.
The latter parts of the series detailed his life at his current job. He ensured everyone knew why he hated the job because of the smell.
Worst part about it for me is like the smell, you know, it's just a little, I got a weak stomach, so I don't know, I can't.
His vlogs captured a man who felt he was dying inside. He viewed the job as a distraction from his true calling as a creator, leading to a toxic relationship with his employment, where he treats his job like a battle. Since he did not like his job, he had to quit, even though he could not afford to quit. After all, he did say that content creators have to make the rules and live with the consequences. This is a phrase that he often heavily repeats throughout the series. Because of how strange most of his choices are, some of his fans tend to question them. One of them, after donating $4 through PayPal, asked how his 13-year-old self, who seemed full of energy, would look at his 30-year-old self now. Juman used this opportunity to register his disappointment in the way his life was headed.
Disappointed, obviously. I mean, I think the answer to that is pretty obviously. The younger version of me would not believe that the older version of me is what I am. You know.
Since he wanted to face his life as a content creator, one would think he would double down on his content. Instead, he also came out to talk about how posting the vlogs is taking a toll on him.
I'm supposed to be uploading like 3 vlogs a day. I don't have it in me, man. It's sad, man.
His life was so torrid that YouTuber Chris Jobson had to come out to publicly acknowledge how wrong he was to assume Juman was faring well following a subway stunt. But on the other hand, some people just did not buy the idea of him struggling. To them, he spends extravagantly and has no plans to move his life forward. Spot on commentary. The money is flowing in at this time. He clearly is depressed, he fails to plan, and we see a plan of failure. Spinning and doing with no effort, claims to be homeless and finds hotel living week after week. But let's take a step back and look at how Juman got here in the first place. Born on September 12, 1993, in Providence, Rhode Island, Juman attended Community College of Rhode Island. Jan Clary didn't just wake up one day and decide to chase clout. He once had a dream, to become someone in the music world. He had a promising career as a rapper.
You won't comprehend, so I hope you'll never understand. Did this to myself and I feel ashamed. Can't be mad at you for my choices, I'm the one to blame. Still I needed help.
The only problem was that he couldn't get the attention of any producer, so he decided to make ends meet by taking up a job at the CVS pharmacy in 2019. But he still had not forgotten about his music dreams, so he decided to get attention at all costs. He saw how videos of content creators ruining shelves in supermarkets were gaining traction in early 2021, and decided to try it out. He took his phone camera up, knocked more than $1,000 worth of stock off the shelf, and posted it on Twitter. The problem was that the video didn't give him the fame he was looking for, so when he switched jobs to Subway, he decided to do something much more damaging and dirty. This video sparked a lot of reactions. For most, he was grossly irresponsible. This guy believes he deserved everything that was happening to him, and does not feel sorry for him one bit. In fact, he was strongly of the opinion that something was wrong with him.
I don't feel bad for Jermaine Wade losing his job. This is something that he's been doing for years. When he was at CBS, he knocked over all the stuff. When he worked for Rite Aid, he did the exact same thing. And now with Subway, this guy says he's trying to get noticed by Meek Mill, right? But no one has heard music from you. All we know is that you go into stores and you destroy stuff. But this was the last straw. You're drinking out of sodas and you're putting them back into the refrigerator. You're taking sandwich meats and spreading them all over the toilet and the floor. You're stomping on food. Honestly, bro, I don't know what's wrong with you, but this is not the way to go viral. You know, do some funny pranks.
Another TikToker believed that saying he was sorry immediately after the Subway incident does not cut it. To him, you can't act like that, apologize, and expect it to go away. Others think his content idea was cliché, antiquated, and has no unique selling point. Hence, there was no way Juman was going to make it with that kind of content, and so it was a mistake to have chosen to chase clout that way.
We have gotten to the point now in social media where all of these pranks, all of these things are unnecessary just to get clout or just to get hype. And that's why you will continue to stay with the followers that you have.
However, the reactions to Jumanji's self-inflicted ordeals were not always negative. This TikToker was moved to tears when watching one of his rap music videos, which he filmed while he was working at Subway. His reason for crying was that he resonated with him and didn't blame him. Honestly, I don't blame him, his caption reads. Juman tried to get his life back together as a content creator after he spectacularly failed at clout chasing, but he just kept making the wrong decisions at every turn. For example, he is often seen checking into a hotel which only compiles his spending for the month. He even moved from Providence, Rhode Island to Las Vegas, which is a way more expensive city to live in. It was easy to see why his ordeals are self-inflicted. One unforgettable example was when he checked into a hotel and talked about how he had no money on his debit card, but had a balance of $1,200 on his 2 credit cards.
$700 credit limit, and this card has a $500 credit limit.
So he went ahead to go to the nearest Apple store to get a $700 iPad Pro for his content creation. But in an insane turn of events, he takes the iPad to a pawn shop without even opening it and pawns it for $300, which he takes to the casino and gambles it all off. Another unforgettable example was about his candy diet. He often goes to Dollar Tree to get almost the same thing, candy and Gatorade. However, he once mentioned he was going to stop buying candy because of his teeth, which were turning yellow.
So much candy is because it's going to be my last time getting candy for a while. I have a bad habit of eating candy, and a lot of people on the internet been making fun of my teeth. And I gotta do something about that. And I know that candy is the reason why my teeth are kind of yellow. Well, they're not kind of yellow, they are yellow.
But then the next day, he went to Dollar Tree and bought candy. Since Juman is not one to take accountability for his actions, after getting the candy, he asked people not to judge him for his choices. At this point, people began to understand that Gatorade and candy might be his next casino. He is just as addicted to them as he is to gambling. This YouTuber even made of that fact. I mean, who wouldn't judge a person who is so out of touch with reality and with himself? Interestingly, his subreddit has generated mixed reactions. Some feel he needs to learn to cut his spending. Yeah, he's at his favorite residence in Marriott. He splurged on 2 Domino's pizza and wings. He is most definitely still, while to others he is a sore loser who only gets money from people because they want to watch him continue to be a sore loser. This guy is a loser, and I don't think he's really homeless, but I can't stop watching poverty work, so here we are, literally paying him to be a loser. This guy even just straight up calls him a degenerate, and that he wants the degenerate back. We don't want this $50 Juman that makes $10 a day. Bring back out degenerate Juman. Before his Subway video, Juman had just one big dream, one very big dream, to become a rapper. He had filmed rap videos of himself in his former places of employment, such as Subway.
You won't comprehend, so I hope you'll never understand. Did this to myself and I feel ashamed. Can't be mad at you for my choices, I'm the one to blame. Still I needed help.
Another at Taco Bell.
I kind of was just hoping that that would go viral. It didn't really do much for me, but the point is I started working at Taco Bell when I was 17 years old.
And sometimes in his recent place of work.
I get caught up in my feelings, couldn't tell you how I'm feeling. People tell me I've been tripping, I might probably keep my distance. I'm not trying to be resistant, I'm just feeling like we different. Never claimed.
When he was 17, he filmed a video in front of his school.
Thinking that it's just me from prom, though. You're not me. You're better off doing something else. I put your egg in the toaster till your muffin melt.
So, then how did this aspiring rapper, instead of honing his craft and pushing forward, suddenly become the typical internet example of what it is like to become a failed clout chaser? To understand this, you have to go before his Subway clip. That was when he revealed he had been making videos to chase clout because he wanted Dream Chasers, at a music record label, to give him a record deal.
What's up, it's Jamani at Meek Mill. This is directly to Meek or anyone that's in a position that wouldn't mind giving me an opportunity to put myself in a better position. Right now I'm in a process of, you know, clout chasing. Basically, I'm about to do this video, which, you know, I'm expecting it might get millions of views. So hopefully Meek will be able to see this. And, you know, again, like, as far as with me, just a little bit about myself, you know what I'm saying? My name is Jamani. I'm 28.
But it all didn't work. Not only did he fail to become an internet sensation, but he also failed to get his record deal, nor the fame he was looking for. So, what did he get? A life of struggle. Since the rap world would not listen to him, he decided he should give the content creation world a go. So he called on the big boys of the streaming world.
At DDG, at Kai Sanat, at Aiden Ross, and anyone that's a streamer, content creator, rapper that's willing to put me on. And I hate to even ask this or, you know, embarrass myself the way I continue to embarrass myself. But if I didn't need the help and if I wasn't in a position where I felt like this is what I need to do.
He, in fact, strongly felt DDG was his only hope of getting to where he wanted to be.
So, again, at DDG, I think DDG might be my best chances. You know, shout out to Dub, too. But... you know, but I know DDG has supported a lot of people. He put a lot of people on with Zooted ENT. I know Aiden has a reputation for putting people on. You know,
it gets more interesting as he goes on to talk about his gambling problem, thinking it would elicit some sense of empathy towards him. His entire premise was that he wanted to go from a creator who earns $2,000 to earning $20,000. He felt that was the only way for him to stop gambling. He was so out of touch with himself that he then went on to talk down on those who had offered to help in the past, or had some advice for him. This part of the video was problematic to some Reddit users who think he lacks the innovation to take his content to the next level, and getting more money will not do so much for him. My problem is that I'm broke. I need to get rich and all my problems magically solve themselves. That is so wrong. And when you ask what he has to offer in return for their help, there's only one thing he has. Just one thing. Loyalty.
Like, the only thing I could offer is my loyalty. You know what I'm saying? That's all I could do is just be loyal. Like, I feel like anybody that puts somebody on, you know what I'm saying? If someone does something for me, I have to give them my loyalty, and that's like unconditional, whether you write it.
Since no one was willing to take him up on his offer, he started to crash out for real. This time, he started to show glimpses of his Subway and CVS videos.
I really think I lost all hope with my iMac. So, you know, I did the best I could do. It's been like this.
Well, we know now that he is going back to his source. At least he is doing what he knows best. In the end, Juman has trapped himself in a vicious cycle where he tells himself he is solely responsible for everything that has happened in his life, but also refuses to take any help and always goes back to his addiction. The entire Natalie issues, and getting kicked out of a hotel, show how emotionally and mentally unstable he is. Ultimately, Jan Clary's life stands as a cautionary tale of the creator economy's dark side. It proves that going viral isn't a golden ticket. For some, it's a trap that makes a normal life feel like a failure, leading to a cycle of gambling, debt, and documented despair. And that is exactly who Jan Clary is.